Welcome over to the casting desk of week number 6 is going to be underway with myself and, of course, the inglorious one. We'll see him shortly, I'm sure, but week 6 is about to begin and we're going to be seeing Epsilon versus TheNightsWatch, who, let's be honest, people like the idea of TheNightsWatch, but after the weekend, I think things changed dramatically for the worse. I'm glad they're 0-8. They just need a name with Ollie as well. But alongside me today is the man himself, Mr. F of the Dot.
Yes, it is. It's been a long time since I had to run like that, but it's also
such
been
a long distance. Like, woo!
They actually shortened it for us. We used to be all the way back there. Now we're just sort of right here. But
same boat.
It's been a long time. Buddy, first of all, welcome to this hot hellhole that we call Atlanta. And secondly, I'm excited to be calling these games with you.
It's been a long time me and you have casted together and been looking forward to it ever since. So let's go with these ones today. First off, Epsilon versus TheNightsWatch. You guys were just discussing it over there today. I think Epsilon's going to take it 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, this one pretty much, this is TheNightsWatch's game to really prove themselves, Hindu Man. Right. I think that if they're going to win, it's up to them to actually win. That sounds really platitude. Give me a second. It's not going to come easy for them, right?
No.
And it's TheNightsWatch's game. They have to make the plays. They're not going to be handed a win.
That's true.
But with the jungler they have and the solo laner they have, we've pretty much harped on how important this roster change is. If they can make their plays together, I think we're going to see a win for Nox. But with everything on the table, it should go Epsilon.
It should go Epsilon, especially because they brought in Flurry Q as well. If they are playing with Flurry Q today, I expect Epsilon should be fine. Flurry Q, a very, very established support player as well. Played for the Spicy Waffles, who recently went to the wayside because good old Bushy had to disappear for a siesta. And that also meant that the team started breaking up. That's why Game Hunter's on the other way as well. So, let's go.
I'm being yelled at by production. I do like Atlanta. It's just a little bit too hot. But speaking of hot to trot, let's get to the P's and B's.
Atlanta sucks almost as much as Hershey bars.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Okay. I didn't slander it like that. I just said it was hot.
Chocolate is bad. Well, here we go. Game 1, EU underway. Epsilon will be the first pick, first ban for this one. TheNightsWatch will have the counter ban here. Let's find out exactly who's going to be playing for Epsilon today as well. We still got Rafa on the list as he will be the main roster. And we generally leave the main roster on.
Well, one ban is going to go ahead and be in the docket right now. Epsilon on the bottom in blue, making your first ban. Top side will be the TheNightsWatch, and that will be Giannis banned out by the TheNightsWatch.
That is Giannis and Ares that was banned out as well. I believe that's an Ares picture. I mean, I've not seen that one for a little while, but I think it's an Ares first ban, which is very, very interesting to see that. Well, Wolf of Elo
Street has routinely gotten these aggressive Guardians banned against him because of his ability to just sort of, him and Moex just tend to want to jump right in there and go for it, as we said last week. Just sort of Moex's way to do things, going back to the Mortality days.
That's how he plays, though. I mean, I've actually laned with Moex regularly, and what he likes to do is, like, he'll just follow you. If you commit, he'll commit with you. You may die, but he'll get himself a double, and you're like, hey, Moex is fed.
So our two bans are locked in, and Ymir is the first pick going the way of Epsilon. So this is an interesting choice.
I see a Sylvanus pick up here just for the support role for Wolf of Elo Street here, more than likely.
Sure.
Ymir could go into the jungle for adapting. He has played it a couple times before, but it's not something that we traditionally see him on. He's more, I mean, I was going to say he's more aggressive, but Ymir early game is very aggressive anyway.
Exactly. So this isn't a character that we've seen adapting pick up before as Thor gets locked in on the top side, but it sort of fits what adapting does. We see adapting pull out of the Fenrir's and the early game killers, and then the one time we did see a Circuit come out of adapting, it didn't really work, not for lack of trying, just wasn't really the same mindset. So Ymir, a very, very different god than what we see out of adapting normally, but fits the early game, I want to punch you in the face sort of mentality. So still very, very open. Sylvanus picked up on the top.
Well, also the Ymir as well could be a shot for Flurry Q, if it is going to be Flurry Q playing for them today. Because Flurry Q is very, very predominant on this Ymir, very strong in it as well.
There you go.
And that's, I think, is the reason we see the Thor pick up as well, just in case it's like, well, adapting, if you're going to play Ymir, you're playing it now because we took Thor away from you. You're going to have to play someone else.
Medusa, the choice for Epsilon on the bottom side of your screen. So that will most likely be picked up by the Hunter Emilitu. Medusa paired with Geb, very, very good combo. Also, Medusa is a character that we don't traditionally see make way to the solo lane or the mid lane like some of these other hunters, namely Neith or Uller.
She can, but she doesn't really do it that much. Maybe in the solo lane more than the mid lane. The blue buff very, very good on her for the poke potential, and she's very good at poking down. Don't forget, though, guys and girls at home, this is the first broadcast as well since the new patch effed up. So the new patch has come out, so the attack speed has been lowered on multiple items in the hunter role, which means we may see the drop-off of all these hunters everywhere.
And Bluestone.
And Bluestone pendant nerf, so we'll probably see more deaths toll, more than likely.
Yeah, Bluestone is going to be one of the bigger talking points. We'll get into that once we get into the game. Right now, I'm intrigued by the gods on our screen. So Agni going to be banned out by the Night's Watch, and the follow-up ban will be Apollo, a character that will definitely become much more prominent because of the things that we just mentioned. Ram, the hunter choice for the Night's Watch.
Generally, what's going to happen with these Bluestone pendant nerfs, which is important for people to know at home, is that auto-attack-based hunters are going to be the stronger option nowadays as well. And Rama is an auto attacks, basically. It appears that Nox, though, was not... That Agni was not banned.
Yeah, so the Agni ban right here on the Night's Watch, we're just getting it from production, is a past ban. So we will not... We might see Agni, but it's just a past ban.
Agni's been picked already. That's why I'm like, Agni banned and picked. OP.
Right. So the way this works is teams are allowed to pass a ban. Right now, I guess, just a little bit of technical difficulties. Osiris is my solution right now. Epsilon picking Osiris. Now, Osiris is a character who we will most likely be in the solo lane. Very interesting to see how this one pops out.
Yeah, it will be solo, unless it could be Ymir solo. I mean, Ninja Dimmy's god pool is wide and varied.
Right.
For me, he's probably the most underrated solo laner in the world right now. I think he'll poop on Cyclone Spin him all personally, but I'm EU, so I have to say that. But honestly, Ninja Dimmy is probably one to watch out for going forward. Will he play Osiris this game or Ymir? Could be either or, but...
I'm looking at the Night's Watch. This is very, very interesting. We have an Agni and a Ra, which means we will have two mages in the mid and solo lane, respectively. If they put a Ra jungle, somebody can take my job.
We're going back. We're going back to some mages solo for game one. Night's Watch going to play traditional and safe here. That could be a game hunter solo, Ra, which we've not seen in quite a long time, but he's very well known for it.
This is going to be very, very, very interesting for the Night's Watch right here, because Epsilon, they're going to have Osiris and Ymir, most likely the jungle and the soul lane combo. This is just waiting to be invaded on, this Ra. You assume that they're going to have a double hog, and you take a look at the builds as we make our way onto the map right now, and, well, it looks like that's the case.
Well, it's going to be Night's Watch, actually the blue team. I think things were mixed up during picks and bans there, because I actually thought red team was Night's Watch. But never mind, we're in game. Ninja Boba is going to be playing that Ymir jungle. Geb is going to be going to Wolf of Elo Street. Carino's going to be in the mid lane as Isis. Moex is Medusa. It does appear the picks and ban screen originally, guys, was backwards. Apologies for that. Their names were the wrong way around, but we can see it's going to be Ninja Dimmy playing that Ra, and Ninja Dimmy could get pick level 1.
Well, I mean, there's the invade we were talking about right away. Moex gets credit for that one. So this was a 5-man grouping by the Night's Watch that secured it, but even still, with just a heavy hammer on Game Hunter and the kit on Ymir, I think Ninja Bobat and Game Hunter might have been able to get that by themselves, but by grouping up 5, they get their Hunter the first kill of the game. That's going to look very, very good for the Night's Watch.
The biggest thing to know that Bobat took wall at level 1 just to secure that kill. It will slow down his jungle clear a little bit, but he's got Hog anyway, so it's not going to be too bad. And in a way, they're against a Ra who doesn't have Hog, as you mentioned. So he's going to be able to get away. So really good pickup for picking that wall. It looks like they might try and invade on this blue buff here by starting the blue buff this side.
Right. So Nox has gone ahead and picked up their own blue, and they're heading right to, hold this thought, they're heading right to their enemy's blue buff. Wall is still online for Ninja Bobat, so you won't have a freeze or a big damage carpet coming out, but just the presence alone is enough to reset. Epsilon hasn't seen the wall yet, so they don't know that Ymir has it. That is a big reason.
They do know that because they used it on Dimmy.
Oh, he did?
No, they used it on Dimmy to block him in. That's how they kept it, because he popped the sprint as well. So they know he had that available. They could have contested that still, but I guess the fact they didn't have Hog available, Thor's Hog was already used.
Yep.
So they couldn't actually secure that buff. The threat of the second Hog coming out from Night's Watch was good enough to deter Epsilon.
Adapting takes a look at the enemy, sees that there's no speed buff. He's not going to go ahead and go for the buff itself, but instead he's going to pay attention to Carino. The conversation has been had in Epsilon's comms, and so Carino going to play it a little bit safe as the Epsilon rotation comes right here into the middle lane.
Now, the one thing I did notice during picks and bans as well, I was going to mention this about the fact that it was Yaman in the mid lane that picked Isis, but obviously it was Carino that did. But he picked an Isis into an Agni, and that's not something you traditionally see very often, because Agni's matchup generally better as the game goes on. The stun obviously be able to stop the Winger, so your wave clear gets affected.
Exactly.
It could cause a few issues for Isis.
It can definitely cause some issues. Early on, Isis will be able to have the clear no problem. Once these meteors come online at level 5, around the 3-minute mark, just before the 3-minute mark, that's when you're going to see Isis run into the most issues, if at all. So right now is where Carreño really has to milk this ability to clear very easily. Bobat chased out of the invade.
Oh, they're trying to zone out the invade once again, but Adaption does have Hog available here. He probably won't panic. He's got his hammer to escape. Actually, it avoids the freeze as well. Will they look for more damage here? It's a bit of a wombo combo, and I actually think Adaption did pick up that blue, but very good work from him, and just going to poke him down some more.
Game Hunter, Ninja Demi goes ahead and gets the buff because of it, but now he might run into a little bit of trouble. Walled out is one escape path, and the other escape path, well, might as well be Ninja Bobat's body takes the way of the exit. One more kill going the way of the Night's Watch. Ninja Bobat gets 2 for his trouble, and that's 3 kills before 3 minutes. The Night's Watch defying all expectations, looking very clean right here.
But Yami didn't rotate there either. He actually just pushed out mid lane. They're still going to be able to rotate and soak the experience, so they don't lose anything from that at all. I'm not sure exactly where Yami was. It didn't catch him whether he had to base or not there, but he just wasn't in position to help his team out. 3v2 every day of the week, I'll take that and try to fight.
No problem at all, says the Night's Watch. And now with 8 seconds to go before these right-hand minions and, well, left-hand minions spawn, for what it's worth. We have a 2v2 right here. Bobat half HP. Walls out one of them. Agni's here, going to use his bomb. He only has one, and that's a dead Ymir, ladies and gentlemen, with the dot damage plus adapting. And he's not done yet, but here comes Geb. That should be enough to deter the onslaught from the Night's Watch. If he can get away, but the great body block and adapting.
Jumps a hammer, gets away from it. Both Harpies, though, go to Night's Watches, which is the key there as well. They do get the experience as Wolf of Elo Street did get the left ones on that rotation round. That's why he was a little bit later. So the engagement, not too bad. I mean, they did lose the life. I think that he knew, though, Ninja Bobat, he was probably going to die for that if he went in for it. It's a little bit risky.
A little bit. He had half HP. Hit him, man.
He did. I'm trying to be respectful here after that. Give him the opportunity. One thing to note as well, though, we've not spoke about Hunters just yet, but look where they both started. We're back to Death's Toll, Devourer's Gauntlets meta right now. And as we were saying earlier, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the rise of the auto-attacking Hunters come back. Expect to see Optimus in the next coming weeks.
Oh, for sure. With the lack of Bluestone Pendant, that means the ability-based Hunters won't really have the clear and the ability span that we are used to seeing here in Split 2, or in Season 2, rather, with the Bluestone Pendant addition to the game. So with that nerf onto the mana return, expect to see a lot of these Death Souls come out because that's how you're going to be expected to clear the wave here, Hindu.
So many interesting things coming out already. Emelito's actually maxing his one of them, I believe it's called Astral Strike. And generally, that's normally the 2 that gets maxed nowadays, but because of the wave clear changes and the way the mana works, maxing the 1 will help him with the wave clear a little bit stronger and saving him on some mana too. It's such a small detail, but you can already see it's going to be affecting the Hunters.
Yeah, very, very small changes tend to lead themselves to large thought processes coming out from these players here in the SPL as we ride along with Yaman. He just protects his tower. He'll actually get credit for all 3 of those minions that didn't make it in way. So gold for the Agni, looking good, and Moex picking up the purple.
I'm still a bit surprised by the Game Hunter. The Game Hunter picks Osiris and then Demi picked Raw into that. Now that's kind of a dangerous matchup, just because Lord of the Afterlife reduces HP to 0.
Right.
I think that's one of the reasons Demi knows his matchup though, even though he's 0-2, because he started Sprint 2 already. Now he has beads as well. I think the pick was risky in the first place to go Raw into an Osiris.
Well, the pick is risky as far as the ability for Osiris to shut down the healing, but as far as clear is concerned, that is something that Ra has never, ever had a problem with. He's just going to be able to hit his Celestial Beam and clear the way very safely underneath the tower, and then when the time comes, he'll be able to help out his team with the heals.
But then his traditional issues of the solo lane mages again. He got invaded early on because he doesn't have Hog. And now he's going to have to deal with it again. They should have expected that invade a little bit earlier. Demi was in an okay position, but the team just rallied really quickly with Night's Watch to get there.
I like to see Game Hunter pick up the Osiris for a separate reason. Game Hunter actually quit before this character came out, his first time around. Yeah, around the launch tournament.
I think it was around a little bit longer than the launch tournament.
A little bit
It was with
after.
TSM for a while in some of the lands there. I think he left the team, or the team, basically the team parted ways with him at some point after one of the lands, but big engagement in the mid lane.
Big ultimate coming out from the Geb right there. Yaman also frozen by Ninja Bobat's prowess with that freeze. But due to a Mjolnir's Attunement and an Agni Dash, 2 members of Epsilon will be safe under their own tower. But all that damage was just a precursor to the mid camps.
Well,
Left ones go the way of the Night's Watch. And Epsilon are going to give out these right ones as well. Stun off the mark.
Potentially, yeah, it looks like with the swing round of both Ymir and Geb, that's going to deter them. So once again, NightsWatch get both mid camps. So 100% record for them so far, I thought.
Right. So Game Hunter, going back to Game Hunter and his Osiris play, he might have been around when the god first came out, but I don't think we saw any prominent plays.
Oh, Blink freeze in the mid lane into an Isis Spirit Ball, followed by the Circle of Protection, and all Flurry Q can do is stand and watch.
That's going to be a good one. The first, well, that's the fourth kill for the NightsWatch going that way. Just pure aggression. This is so different from a team than that. This doesn't look like an 0-10 team, and I'm not saying that because of the fact that they're actually doing good. I'm just talking about how aggressive and confident they are in each other and their ability to pull off plays.
Every caster I've spoken to about NightsWatch and who have mentioned stuff about the NightsWatch time and time again, they've always turned around and said that NightsWatch don't look like a team that deserve to be in 0-8, 0-10. They don't deserve to be. They're trying hard. They're getting close games all the time, but they're just not able to finish it off. The one thing I like, though, is they've got Carino and they've got Ninja Boba back on the same page. Old Coast boys back together, and that synergy should still be there.
Ultimate coming out from Ra, pretty much just to clear the wave. He's getting aggressed on by Game Hunter. He'll get out of there just in time to not get stunned from the Judgment Tether.
Old Game Hunter probably would have gone for that.
Yeah.
Old Game Hunter probably would have dived that with a lot of the afterlife available to him. He could have brought him down. The heal was already dropped as well. And with the sniping on cooldown, I think he could have potentially gone for the kill there. But played it safe, forced him back to base, gets a free wave before Dimmy can get in there.
Taking a look at the builds coming out from him as him being Game Hunter as well. Has not finished the Heavy Hammer. Finished boots instead. Do we expect to see Frostbound Hammer come online before the other items?
I don't think he needs to. I mean, the health is good for that item, but the problem is he's not really worried until the later stage when he's got to deal with Emelito to finish off the attack speed debuff. So it helped him for the level 1. That's why he picked it up. And then after that, we'll probably see him, build into the more traditional. Maybe we'll see some damage coming out of him here.
I'm very curious if we'll see Chin size being built at all against the enemy team right now. There really is no reason for it. Chin's generally built as a damage item against heavy bruisers, heavy tanks, a lot of guardians on the board, but the basic attack combo coming out from Osiris is just so strong. We know that Divios out in North America doesn't utilize the Chin size, but I have seen it, despite it being extremely expensive, being built in Europe a little bit.
Well, this is with the patch as well, because now that Executioner took some hits as well as Iqval
That's
as well.
what I'm thinking.
So it might be possible we could see more Chin size come back. Chin's was expensive on the expensive side, still value for money, however, but it was more on the expensive side. So people aired away from it to look for the other cheaper items that you can get online quicker.
Chin size definitely a more of a late game item, to say the absolute least. 3,000 plus.
3,000 plus indeed. So Red Buff's going to go down, giving over to Carino once again. Carino's building the mid lane. Divine Ruin already activated. Not a surprise with double healers on the enemy team. I'd like to see what we're going to see. The problem I actually have already is, I was going to say, the problem I had already was like, Ymir wants Blink, Geb wants Blink. Who's getting that weakening curse? And it's going to be Game Hunter.
It will be. Ymir Blink off the mark. Left-hand cams go the way of the blue team. Heading to the right-hand side. Should be another skirmish. This one I think Epsilon would be smart to fight. NightsWatch going to play it extra safe. They'll go ahead and push out of the cubby hole right here just to provide some spacing for their team. They'll split it 4 ways, but they'll do it intelligently. Right now, as we hit 10 minutes, the Fire Giant will spawn. We've got about a 2,000 gold lead from the 0-win NightsWatch.
Well, Blink Cataclysm gets used. Yamin immediately just disengages, and the pull from Flurry is good onto Carino, who's taking a lot of damage from the Agni bombs. Has to use Circle of Protection to survive, but Adapting's up, doesn't find it.
Beautiful play coming out from the Isis, using Circle of Protection. Emelito finds her after the heal is done and brings her back down to the base. 2 kills going the way of Epsilon in total, and that's going to be the end of that fight.
End of the fight, but what a good little turnaround play from Epsilon there. Flurry Q signing himself up as the substitute this week for the boys. They're baiting around here. They're going to try to actually find Emelito.
They get the freeze. Not good enough for Medusa, as the beads came out from Emelito just a little bit too fast. Looks like Bobat still wants to fight. Couple of seconds left on that freeze, but they've got Flurry Q surrounded with bodies. A beautiful double tap into a better snipe, and that's a beautiful combo coming out from Epsilon. They've got 4 kills to the NightsWatch 5. Moex is all by himself. Adapting has no hammer, and that's going to be a safe
Adapting
Moex.
just walled 4 guys, got a double tap on 3 of them, ran in the span. Just a shame Dimmy missed that snipe completely, really.
The snipe hit 2 players.
I didn't feel like it.
It didn't hit 3, so
it was bad. It was bad. They were all lined up. God damn it. It should have been killed straight away. Gold Fury goes to Epsilon, though. Big turnaround for them, because I was just about to start commenting on the fact that this isn't the Epsilon we've seen all season. And maybe it's down to the shot caller. I guess Rafa is one of the biggest shot callers for their team, and not having him around is causing them a few issues. But they capitalize well.
Yeah, right now I really don't think the story is Epsilon. I think that they've been doing what they're supposed to be doing there, even right there with the Gold Fury. That was a tough call. That was a veteran call right there. They didn't have the wipe. They didn't have who they wanted to be killed. They killed Flare Q, but they didn't have the wipe Hinduman. So it was really, they knew it was going to be contested, or at least should have been contested. They go for it anyway. Good call.
Oh, here we go again. He's got no mana. Emelito's really in trouble here. He's good enough just to roll away. That might actually save him. The acid spray hits. Moex needs to hit the hits. I was about to say, Moex needs to hit this. Moex doesn't miss. So, and in mid lane,
Ninja Bobat.
Get him right.
Too many ninjas in this match.
There's always ninjas.
We're going to see Carino and Bobat taking down the mid tower, adapting, just trying to do what he can to kill some of these minions. Carino, you mentioned how it was awkward to see the Isis picked into the Agni. Now, you're right on paper, but sometimes one of the beautiful things about Smite is that personal play can sort of transcend tier lists or meta or what's supposed to quote-unquote work. And in that last fight, I'm not going to go back and really dive into it as we see Game Hunter being aggressive, but just the movement from Carino with the circle of protection being very low. He did ultimately wind up dying, but being able to weave in and out, understanding how this character works, I see a lot of good Isis stuff coming out from this mid laner.
Yeah, Carino's always had a good Isis, though. We've known that from season when he played back at Coast, but just the pick in general up against the Yamin's Agni is kind of risky. On top of the fact he's against Thor in the jungle. Like, one of those picks you generally don't, you don't see after you've already seen those picks come out.
I like it, and I might be putting on too big of pants for him, but I'm expecting some Berserker's Barrage silences. I think that this Isis play, from what I've seen thus far, is going to be very mechanically, it's going to be very mechanically sound, and I'm expecting this sort of stuff to come out of Carino now.
Well, it's one thing we didn't really speak about during the team fights is Carino's been putting his silence on the right targets at the right time too so far already. Exactly. He actually silenced out earlier on Flurry Q to stop him from being involved in that engagement when he first picked Agni in the mid lane. But Yamin being a focal point of focus here from Night's Watch, and it's working out well for them. Combining Bobat and Carino together has allowed them to get a little bit of a comfortable situation for both of those two gods.
Night's Watch slowing it down just a little bit, clearing out their entire jungle on the left-hand side before heading back to base. As we take a look at the gold and experience differences, you can see just how volatile this was a couple of minutes ago. Night's Watch have been sort of taking this, but Epsilon won a team fight and took out a Gold Fury.
Well, that Gold Fury dropped it all the way back down for Night's Watch, back to Epsilon's favor, but then a tower and 2 quick kills just brought it almost back to where it was originally before that Gold Fury even started. So this game's still anyone's at the moment. This experience lead is good for Night's Watch. They need it with the sort of gods they've got here on this Ymir, for example. But there might be a fight on the left side. Moex, be careful, son.
I like it. Moex taking the fight, but as soon as Adapting shows his face, showed the hand a little bit too early. With 4 members here on the left-hand side for Epsilon, that was an easy kill. Pulls good onto that enemy, and they're going to bounce right up.
Yeah, but what else are they going to do from Acid Spell on the backside from Moex? Does connect, forcing Yamin away. Adapting is in the air, though. Is he going to dunk down on the backside? Only onto 2. Berserker Barrage comes out, but silence and forcing the beads away from Adapting as well. Freeze does connect with Flurry Q, but that's a giant tree that'll last for a long time. Emelito looking for the snipes.
He's going to land before firing off the 3rd shot. The beads is going to be used to avoid a knockup. Jumping in is Game Hunter all the way from the other side of the map. There's that slow, ladies and gentlemen, from that Frostbound Hammer. And the kill goes to Game Hunter.
And it's still chasing up for Dimmy, who's late on the rotation over here. The tab has been applied as well. Dimmy surrounded, hit by the Wingos, tries to snipe, can't get it off in time. Carino secures the kill, but they can't get much more out of this. There's no Gold Fury to do here after they win the battle, but the war's still going to go.
Of course. Big point. Game Hunters everywhere. These fights have been largely won by just numbers. There have been some spectacular play. We see some cheekiness coming out from Game Hunter going around the tower, but and this is the win that they're going to get. They're being hyper-aggressive here going around the tower because there's no Gold Fury. They're going to take the tower instead.
That's a good call.
15 minutes in, first rubble going the way of Night's Watch, but they've been winning these fights, Hinduman, by just having 5 people surround a single person.
Yeah, I mean, what you saw there at the start of that was Moex was trading 1v1. He popped the sprint to use the actual passive from Medusa to give him the mobility to keep moving at full speed. And then the wall missed from Adapting. The rest of the team had already collapsed, thinking Adapting was going to connect with that and they were going to follow up. Doesn't happen, and in the end, I was really a bit worried because it was Ninja Bobat and Wolf of Elo Street. They were the only 2 there originally. And then when Wolf blinked in and Cataclysm, I'm like, you don't have the damage to fight this. And then the reinforcements came, everyone ran away, and it worked out really well for them.
Yeah, Moex's ultimate also was offline right there. It was on cooldown from being used earlier on. So what looked like the dream, you had a full team looking down a single hallway. Unfortunately, Moex just unequipped, and it almost looked like Epsilon knew that because they just went for the fight all in. Fortunately, did not go their way. NightsWatch leading this by 6 kills. That is surprising.
They're doing well for themselves so far. Checking in with the Hunters, though, is one thing I'm interested in. Just because of the patch changes again after we're back to Death's Toll now, Devour's Gauntlets, Ninja Tabi, Igval. That's the standard build that we've seen out of EU. We'll see later on today if North America think the same way, because generally, most people follow the Zapman.
It's very, very true.
And we'll get to see him play.
Yeah, we'll see. Zapman will be our first North American hunter coming out today, later on. Of course, this is a 2-game set, so we've got this game and another one after this, but the set after that will be Eager versus Legion of Carrots, and of course, Eager featuring Zapman himself, so we'll see the hunter build leader, who has been the de facto hunter build leader in North America for a long time, play the first game in the patch.
Yeah, everybody follows him to an extent. I mean, the only real transition away from that was when we saw the Ataraxia build come out. That was stupid. But yeah, the Unicorn build. Shout out to Crep for that one. But Golfio is going to be started by NightsWatch here. Flurry Q's nearby, so you need to watch this.
Flurry Q right now taking a look. He does have a blink, and he's going to blink in right there. Ultimate is good, but he's silence is better.
Pooped on! He goes down, but Epsilon do get the Gold Fury even off that one. So a great play from them, even though the combo of CC was huge. They're chasing for more, though.
NightsWatch is going to let the Gold Fury go, but they're not going to let the fight go. They've picked up 2 already. A blink over the wall will save the life of the jungler adapting, but that's a Gold Fury for 2 deaths right now, Hindu Man.
That was
it
destruction.
Does keep the lead in the NightsWatch's favor, but just barely.
That was destruction on Flurry Q. Honestly, he did great to get everything after and actually secure the Gold Fury. But they're going to look for the Fire Giant based off that now, because obviously they're still going to have the hug available. But they silenced him the moment he blinked in. Then they hit him with the freeze. Then they hit him with the Spirit Ball. Over and over again with the CC. Adapting has to make a play.
Adapting's going to land. He does not have the Hog 3 from the looks of it. But exactly, he's just going to go ahead and keep them busy. Very, very low is Bobat. He's going to be forced out of the fight. Game Hunter is, I wouldn't say zoning. He's killing.
He's killing, but now he's low on health. On the backside, though, we're going to see Adapting actually managed to pick up 1. And Melito's in the sky with the snipes looking for the kills. Bit low on mana. Game Hunter is here, though. He's low on mana too. The Fire Giant still stands. Flurry is hanging around. Can he actually secure the silence? Epsilon get the Fire Giant again. Flurry Q with the steals.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think I know why Titan didn't want this player to go ahead and play for Epsilon last week. 2 steals on 2 objectives in a single sequence going the way of Flurry Q. And while this game definitely looked like it was in the NightsWatch's favor earlier, Epsilon, they take the fight. They take the objective. They take the tower. And it looks like the red team is still barreling down this lane.
It was a good fight for NightsWatch to take. It was a good Fire Giant call from them. They didn't play it perfectly. I think Game Hunter did the correct thing to zone out Ninja Dimmy. He made sure the snipe didn't really connect with anyone, which was important. But then he carried on looking for the kill there. Nobody else was on peel duty there from NightsWatch, and they needed that second peeler more than anything. They ended up getting collapsed on. Epsilon get an opportunity and collapse and win it based off that.
19.5 minutes in after what was an incredible turnaround, Epsilon Esports, or Epsilon right now, is leading the pack. 3,600 gold. The experience is all but tied, as the NightsWatch had led this game for the majority of the 20 minutes that we've been sitting in this contest. So Epsilon, with 1 sequence, Hindu Man, really turns it around right now.
But this has been NightsWatch's season so far. We've talked about it. We give them opportunities to actually show off their talent, and they have done that. But then as the game goes on, every single time they just fall to the wayside. Small mistakes time and time again have cost him. And yet again, you know, with these roster changes, I can understand.
Or the story that is this game, because I don't want to chalk this up to small mistakes. Epsilon, like you said, the decisions were correct. Game Hunter should have zoned. All the things that happened should have happened. It just so happened that Epsilon came in adapting, had a great stun. Flurry Q came in and did a fantastic job. I can't give enough credit to this Sylvanus play.
But he's a very good player. He was with Spicy Waffles for a very long time. You don't remember those guys. They had the opportunity to get in through the relegations as well. They competed with a very strong lineup. And if you didn't know, 2 members of this team are actually playing for NightsWatch that he was alongside. So they know each other well.
That's Game Hunter and Bobat.
Yep. So 3 members of Spicy Waffles now in the SPL on different teams.
Playing against each other right now.
Right now. And that's one thing that you can see here, that the talent in the challenger scene in the EU, strong enough for SPL.
Very, very, very true. the Challenger Cup team's just a little bit talented, enough to be called up to the big leagues right now here in week number 6. Only one more week. We've got this week and the next week right now before we go into finals.
We go into finals indeed. We'll see how that plays out for the Challenger Cup teams because there's a few hanging around in the wings waiting for their shot. Executioners, though, looks like to be the order from these Hunters coming out as well after that Igfell. Blink engagement from Floriq looks good.
Ultimates are going to be out from the Isis as well as the Agni. Ram will land. It's enough to get the tower. That's exactly what Epsilon was looking for. One more shot. There it is.
What a snipe.
Emilitu landing all those shots on the ground and in the air. Game Hunter forced to use the ultimate defensively.
And the weakening curse as well, which is going to stop them being able to go aggressive again for a little while. He's the only real one with healing reduction other than the Divine Ruin on Carino. So they're going to lose tier 2 tower in mid lane as well. Pull does not connect.
Nice shield.
Did you see how Yaman pre-fired the bomb there, expecting that pull to connect? That's really good play for them. So now we're going to see Epsilon with the experience and gold lead. Now the gold lead is stretched to about 8k now.
Yeah, right after that Fire Giant, Graham, it really wasn't that big a deal. It was just 3,000 plus the Fire Giant. This time around, it's a much different story. The TheNightsWatch have to be very careful. This is what they need to do. They need to find one member. They need to isolate, and they need to get a pick. They can't really fight head-to-head.
It's so scary what Epsilon have done this game, though, because they lost the first 3 Harpies on both sides at the start of this game. They were behind on kills as well. And now look at them. They're ahead on experience, too. Like, everyone in every role. This was the problem with TheNightsWatch's composition. Ymir in the jungle, very strong in the early game. You've got to keep it going.
Gold Fury picked up. No problem for Epsilon. Very impressive timer management right there, folks. Everybody knows how the pies sort of come online, but teams still, even with the timer, will take note of the exact second that these Gold Furies and Fire Giants go up and down. And that's why they were able to arrive exactly at the moment in time when that spawned, wasting 0 time at all, picking it up very quickly, cleanly, and able to head back to base and finish whatever they want. Chronos Pendant up for Agni, full beads up for Ra. So Epsilon ready to fight.
Yeah, the Chronos Pen is not something you generally see on the Agni. I think he just wants to get something finished now, ready for the next engagement coming up, which will be this Fire Giant.
Yes.
This is the opportunity TheNightsWatch have too, to get themselves and keep this game still alive for themselves. They have to contest this Fire Giant well. You can already see Adapting setting up with the pull onto Ninja Boba over the wall from Floriq. That was nice.
Just a little bit showing you that we can do it. Another stun coming out from Agni on the right-hand side. TheNightsWatch a little bit split up.
They have to hang around from 2 angles. If they group up in one, Agni, Ra snipes, Floriq with the Wrath of Terror. So they've got to split their options up. They can't all necessarily path through one way. This is why you'll see them swing around to the right here because there's 2 avenues instead of just, the general one from the left-hand side.
Game Hunter, routinely all by himself. He's a little bit thick thanks to his itemization. He has picked up a Spirit Robe, which is going to be very, very strong against this composition.
Look at the level difference, though. Like, he was beating Dimmy in lane.
Oh,
he
yeah,
had a great start. Dimmy 0-4, and he's level 19 right now. Engagement coming out. Tether has been used. You saw Adapting jump away with the hammer. Just a disengage for now, then straight away. A little bit of poke on Game Hunter, though.
Very smart by Epsilon. I sort of waved my hand when you're saying they were engaging. No, they're not. Game Hunter is trying to bait out abilities. Use your ultimates on me. I'm an Osiris. I can jump away. Do it. Epsilon not taking the bait intelligently. They will start the Fire Giant.
They will start the Fire Giant, and Wolf of Elo Street should know this is up because he should be able to see over the wall around. He's going to charge that roll up now. Get those immunity frames available for himself to give him CC immunity, and they're going to try and pull away from the Fire Giant, which is still at 50% right now after.
Epsilon ready to tear off, and they do. Wrath of Terror gets the right-hand side. Game Hunter all by himself on the left-hand side. He's going to shut down the healing from the enemy team. Carino quietly kills Floriq, so that's going to be a big hand to the gods. Emilito not so quietly gets Game Hunter, though. 4 members of TheNightsWatch are still alive. They're chasing Yaman. Ninja Dimmy gets Wolf of Elo Street. Moex all by himself. Needs to use that lifesteal. There's no Hunter to shoot at. Emilito's on top.
He does find the snipe onto one, but now they're going to collapse, bring down Carino. Ninja Boba's going to bravely run away. The minions are going to force him back to Adapting. He's just going to stay here. He's not going to continue the chase. He just wants to make sure he doesn't come out.
Just playing goalie, making sure he's got all eyes on people that could mess with this attempt. Because right now, I mean, this isn't a free Fire Giant looking at these 3 players here. Look at the dead people on the side of TheNightsWatch. Sure. But with just 3 members, Ymir can pop in, freeze, and Cog is on cooldown. But that could be very disruptive, kill somebody with the Fire Giant damage. So intelligent play coming out from Adapting to sort of play goalie. And now Epsilon, Fire Giant, ready to go.
They killed Floriq for the whole team to be wiped. It was a 4-for-1 trade. They focused on the support, which to an extent is important around Fire Giants and Gold Furies for objective control. However, when you commit so much to that, you have to pick up kills off the back of it. Your team has to survive. Game Hunter could not survive the all-in from the two members that he was up against there. Moex couldn't get to the back line as he would like to have done to bring down the targets at the back, and Ymir actually managed to escape, which was the second kill they were looking for.
It looks like Epsilon really noticed what was going on. The Night's Watch have routinely employed this 4-1 strategy where they group up as 4 and then leave Game Hunter to do what he wants with his thickness in the build and the thickness in the character of Osiris, Judgment Tether. Osiris has so many buttons and abilities just to make you deal less damage. Epsilon sort of noticed that, and they put 2 members on Game Hunter instead of just the 1, and by doing so, they were able to overpower his tankiness, take him down, and then swing the fight in their favor just by pure numbers.
I'm not sure what happened with Game Hunter, because he used a lot of the Afterlife, and I wasn't sure if he's baiting to fake he was going over the wall, and then engage, which is what happened.
No, he jumped right on the Ra to shut down the healing.
It looked like he was faking to go over the wall, more than likely. That's what I thought he was doing. I was like, oh, did he misclick there? Was this an engagement? Because it was very risky to do so, keep them pinned down.
I thought he just wanted to fight Ninja Timmy.
That's generally what Game Hunter does for the most part. But he did have Melito on the backside, but now Epsilon going to siege up the left-hand Phoenix, see what they can do. Game Hunter hanging around the side here for a poke opportunity.
Again, 4-1. Look at the strategy. Every single time the Night's Watch employ this situation, blink in, they're going to go ahead and be aggressive on the defensive side. Great play coming out from the Night's Watch. Protection. How will Epsilon respond? They're already very, very low. Ram chased out of the engagement. Game Hunter looking for him, chasing, adapting in the back line. Carino, however, gets a kill onto Flurry Q. One more time, Yaman gets the Hunter, and up in the air is Emily2. Moex going down with the basic, not able to get it. Adapting takes him down for the old teammate. This fight is going to go the way of Epsilon. Adapting getting aggressive.
Gonna jump in, not gonna find the wall. The double tap will not connect, but he'll jump to the hammers, use the Berserker Barrage to bring him down as well. And finally, Yamin finds that final kill onto Ninja Boba, and Epsilon now have the opportunity to take on the Titan.
Yeah, Epsilon right now, well, it's effectively an open Titan right now, folks. They have to get the Phoenix, but it's all said and done. Game 1 going the way of Epsilon, unless a player disconnects or something. Really nothing that the enemy team can do. And fantastic play coming out from Epsilon. Without their support player, Flurry Q definitely filling the hole of IRAFer, at least in gameplay.
Yeah, Flurry Q stepped up to the plate today, stole away a Fire Giant, stole away a Gold Fury, even though he got full CC chain. That was really impressive from Night's Watch. Night's Watch looking strong, and we keep saying this, they're looking good, but they're still not winning games.
I think that small play, or very large play, over there by the Gold Fury is a microcosm of what we've seen these past 2 weeks. Everything was done correctly. You saw the blinking from Flurry Q. Well, Isis is going to silence you, and we're going to control you all sorts of other ways. We're going to make the right plays.
Yep.
But Flurry Q gets the Gold Fury anyway.
Still not going to work out for him. So Night's Watch going into this game. I'm not sure what we're going to see differently out of them more than anything, but let's talk about what happened in this game.
Exactly. It all started off going the way of Night's Watch very, very strongly. They're going to go ahead and group up as 5 and get a first blood before the fight even begins, right onto Ra, able to smack him down with some basics. And again, they showed their cards. They showed the wall, and it didn't even help. It didn't even hurt them.
It didn't hurt them because they invaded early on against the mage as well. It forced them away. The early game they controlled based off that because of the lead that they had at the beginning. All lanes were controlled. We have the mid lane farm right now on your screens. We should be able to see it actually ended up going 21%, still 21% to Epsilon. That's really low.
And I mean, all in total control, even with the larger objectives going the way of Epsilon, which is the bigger story, the Night's Watch maintained control over the map.
I mean,
51% isn't exactly taking anything home, but
let's be honest. Do you want 51% or do you want 3 Gold Furies and 2 Fire Giants? I'm taking the Gold Furies and Fire Giants.
I'll take the second one for sure, Hindu. And I mean, Epsilon just came out and did the right things, but you asked me earlier, what do I expect to be different this time around for the Night's Watch? I hope nothing.
Really?
I hope nothing. Well, maybe a different outcome, but sometimes these things just don't work outright. And I mean, part of that is the enemy team doing very, very well. Most notably, Emily2. He's going to be our player of the game from Epsilon, really stopping what the Night's Watch started to get going.
Emily is one of these mechanical beasts that just stays in the sideline. We saw him play a lot in the mid lane for a long time.
Right.
We've seen him play multiple different roles as Emilito. But in this Hunter role, alongside Rafa, usually, he combines very, very well with him, and he actually forces out a lot of bad situations. Saved enough mana for a role early on in that game when we saw the dual lane gank that went onto him. Still ended up dying for it, but he's still not scared to commit. Do you remember right at the end when he sniped Moex and went, I can roll and kill him now? And Moex is like, Nah, come on, son. Come on.
Just a little bit too cocky. I liked it. I thought he was going for it. I called it that way, but he gets taken out by the mid laner. Anyway, good play coming out from both teams. And honestly, this was so close into. I'm going to keep going with what I was saying before. Sometimes you have the right play, the right plan, and it doesn't pan out. That doesn't mean you need to change things. Everything that worked here for the Night's Watch worked for good reason. I think that they should draft something similar. I think they should play something similar and do the same things. I don't think that their issues were anything that caused this loss. I think Epsilon just rose to the occasion.
From my personal opinion, I think it was more Go for Your Fire Giant control is something that they've got to work on.
Very
They're not peeling correctly. And if they aren't peeling, they're not CCing enough to kill Floricure in time. They've not got enough damage.
Exactly why I say if it ain't broke, well, even if it's broke, don't fix it. You're looking more for control over things. I'm thinking about the Isis. I'm thinking about the Hunter comparisons. I mean, these two Hunters going head to head. This was a really, really tough matchup. Both of these players have a lot to prove right here. Their stats even similar.
Emilio looks so different. It looks like
he does.
He looks like. He looks like
He looks like EU Jerby. He's got the hat on and everything.
He looks like a Millsy's daddy. That's what he looks like.
God.
Like a Millsy's daddy, his older brother.
I don't know this banter well enough to go ahead and join the.
It's good. It's good. They look similar. And Moek's obviously the killer over there as well, the smiley face. Moek's, though, 1.7 KDA this season's pretty low for him, in all fairness.
Very low, considering Moek's is. I mean, the old joke that we used to have back in the Challenger Cup, for those that don't know, Hindu and I have, we casted the Challenger Cup together, along with Coach Kret, who coaches Eager now, the team next up. But so back in the Challenger Cup, watching Moex do his thing, we used to call them team shots because it looked like when they engaged, it just came out of nowhere. They just took a shot and went for it. Just all right, jump in. And that's what we saw repeatedly out of that team. So to see that KDA very low, I mean...
It's surprising. He's not getting us out to the front line,